Hey guys, welcome back once again. In this video I am going to show you how to implement server-side pagination, filter and sorting in AG-Grid. Alright, as you can see here, I have a simple AG-Grid table with all these server-side functionality. To check that, let's do right click, go to the inspect here. Okay, and from here let's go to the network tab. And now let's refresh the page here. So here as you can see it made a API call. Okay, and now here we are passing this query params. First is the starting index as a 0 and here ending index as a 100. That means for the first time it is gonna to get me 100 record. Okay, so now what if I want to see the any record after 100? So for that here it is gonna to make another one API call. So right now here we are displaying only 8 record. So let me go to the next here. As you have seen, it haven't made any extra call because we have already those data. So right now we are on 96 record. So now if I click here next, it is gonna to make another call. So here I clicked, and as you can see it made another one API call, and right now the index is 100 to 200. That means it got another 100 record. So now the table is having completely 200 record. So this is all about the pagination. Now what if I want to filter something based on the age? Suppose I want to get all the record whose age is 20. So for that here I have to type 20 in this age filter. Okay, and I will get all the record whose age is 20 only. Let's come to the API call. Okay, and here as you can see I am passing here age as a 20. So now if I want to filter based on the year, so I have to type here year. Okay, and now as you can see I got all these record here. So here let me show you. So right now I am passing age as 20, year as 2012, a starting index 0 and ending as a 100. So now what if I want to do a sort? So for that here let's click on this country. Okay, and here as you can see we are getting Australia first, after that China, France. Okay, and now this become in ascending order. So let's come here and verify this. So here we are passing sort as a country here. Which order we want? We want in ascending order. So here I passed column name as a sort and here order as a ascending. So now if I click here again, as you can see the South Africa at the top here and Australia at the below, and now here I am passing order as a descending. So now let's jump to the VS Code and implement this server-side pagination, filter and sorting to AG-Grid table. So let's go to the SRC and open here app.js. Okay, and from here as you can see I have imported here use state and here this AG-Grid React from the AG-Grid React, and as you can see here I am having a state grid API which has been created by the help of use state. So here as you can see I have this row, it have only 2 data, and below this I have column definition. Okay, and here I am having the on grid ready function which is gonna to fire once our grid is ready, and this is gonna to update our state here to this grid API. Okay, and now here in render we are rendering 2 heading, and here to this AG-Grid React I am passing 3 props. First is the row data what I had coded at the top here, and second is the column definition, and third is the on grid ready function. Okay, so now let's come here. So this is how our table is looking right now. In order to implement server-side functionality in AG-Grid, we need a API which support the server-side pagination, filter and sorting. Okay, for API we will be using Json-Server, by using which we can create a fake server. Okay, and we can put some data inside and we can implement all this functionality. Okay, so first of all here let's go to the Json-Server. Okay, so you can find this link in description of this video. So now here let me take you to getting started, and here as you can see we have to install a package Json-Server. Okay, and there we have to create a db.json file and we have to put data inside. Okay, and after that we have to run a command that is called Json-Server watch db.json. Create a folder server, and here let's get into the server. So open here new terminal and cd server. Okay, so now here I need to create a node project, so I will call it as npm init, and here I will pass flag as a yes. So basically this is gonna to create a packet.json for me. As you can see we have this packet.json, and now here I need to install this package. So here npm install Json-Server. Okay, so it is gonna to install this server, and meanwhile let's create a file here db.json. So here db.json. So now this is gonna to take a object. So here object, and here we need to provide our key name. So here I will call it as Olympic. Okay, and the value is gonna to be a array of object. So let me copy this value, already I have hard coded. Okay, and paste it here. So now save it. Okay, and here we have to add a extra command to this packet.json. So here comma, and let's add another one script here, a start. Okay, and here we need to write Json-Server. Okay, minus watch db.json. Okay, and we want to execute this one on different port. So for that port 4000. So now let's start the server. So for that npm start, and once we will hit enter, this is gonna to execute this start script only. So here let me scroll up. Okay, and as you can see Json-Server watch db.json and port number 4000. Okay, so now as you can see our resource is running here. So let's come back here. Okay, and type here localhost 4000. Okay, so now as you can see we have this resource, and our resource here we have Olympic. So let's click on this here. So here as you can see we are getting all the data what we have hard coded in db.json. Okay, so now here first of all let's perform the pagination. So for that here let's come to the documentation and scroll down. So this is the first way how we can implement the pagination. Okay, page and limit, and we have another way as well here. Okay, so that is called slice, and here a starting index and ending index. So for that here underscore a start we have to pass and underscore end. So here let's come back question mark underscore a start, and here I will pass 0 and underscore end, and here I will pass 5. So now hit enter, and now as you can see we have only 5 record. So now if I write here 2, I will get first 2 record only. So this is how our pagination will be working. For the first time we will be passing 0 to 100, and for the second time we will be passing 100 to 200. So now let's implement the filter here. So for that here let's come to the documentation, and here as you can see we have this filter, and here we can pass the key name with the value. So for that here let's come back. Okay, and add here and now as you can see the gold is 6 here, and here gold is 8. So now I will pass here gold equal to 6 and hit enter. So here we got this gold equal to 6, only one record. Okay, that means our filtering is working fine. So for the sorting here, let's come back to the documentation and have a look here. So here we have to pass two query params. First is the column name and second is the order. So here let's remove this one. Okay, underscore sort equal to, and here I have to provide the column name. So let's provide age. Okay, and here the order I want it to be in ascending, so ASC. So now let's hit enter, and here as you can see the age is 15 and here age is 15. Let me scroll down, age is 20. Okay, so now if I write here descending and hit enter, so I will get the maximum age record at the top and lowest at the below, as you can see here. Okay, so here we have 46 and below as you can see we have 45. To implement this server side functionality, definitely you have to import this AG-Grid Enterprise, otherwise you won't be able to implement this server side functionality. Okay, so before implementing these things, let's come to the AG-Grid website and let's have a look. So here AG-Grid. Okay, so let's click on documentation here, and here we have to go to server side data, and from here let's select our Node.js MySQL. Okay, so now let's scroll down here, and this is the basic concept. So here we will have our AG-Grid, and by using JSON or HTTP we will be calling our server, that means the API. Okay, and API is gonna to fetch data from the database. Okay, so for that here what we have to do is, let's scroll down. So here as you can see server side data source. Okay, so here we have to pass this data source in order to make a API call. Okay, and we will be calling this method by using set server side data source. Okay, so let's copy this code from here. Okay, and let's come back here, and we have to paste these things in our AG-Grid. Okay, so here let me paste outside, and let's call this function in AG-Grid. So here AG-Grid, and I will write here params. Okay, so params dot API dot set server side data source. Okay, so now we have data source here. So now we need to enable server side row model. So for that here let's come back to the AG-Grid. Okay, and add a property here that is called row model type, and here I need to pass server side. Now save it and let's come back here. Okay, so here as you can see it's started loading. So let's do right click, go to the inspect, and from here let's select the network. So now let's refresh again. So here as you can see it's making a call to Olympic winner. So now we need to configure our API here. So let's come back here. Okay, so now let's define a variable here and let's call it as URL. Okay, so here I will store the URL. So for that here localhost 4000 / Olympic. Okay, so now let's copy this and come back here and paste here, and now instead of passing this one let's pass your URL. Now save it, and we don't need to pass post, so let's remove this. Here URL, and this is gonna to return a promise. So here this is getting converted into the JSON, and here the params dot success callback is getting called. Okay, so here we have to pass complete response because we will get all the data. Okay, and here we need to pass the row. So this is the things we will not get from this API. So here let's pass the hard coded value. Okay, but this is not a good practice. Definitely if you have a realistic API, so from the backend you will get number of row. So that number of row you need to configure here. Okay, so now save it and let's come back here. So now we are getting data. So here do right click, go to the inspect. Okay, and here let's go to the network, and now let's refresh this page. Okay, and here as you can see it's making a API call, and as you can see here we have all the record at a time. So 498 record. So now let's implement the pagination here. Okay, so for that here let's come to the table and let's add a property here that is called pagination and pass this value as a true here. So now let's pass another one property that is called pagination page size, and that means row per page. So here pagination page size, and here let's pass this value as a 10. So now save it and let's come back. So here as you can see the pagination got enabled, and at a time we are displaying 1 to 10 record, and on click of this next we will go to another one slice here 11 to 20 record. Okay, so now we are displaying only 10 record and we have this scroll bar here. So here in order to remove this one we will set auto hide to this table. So for that here let's come back and add a property called DOM layout. Okay, and provide this value as a here auto hide. So auto hide. So before we used to provide hide from here, so now we can remove this one and let's save it and let's come back here. Okay, and here as you can see we are getting 10 record at a time and we can see all 10 record here. We don't need a scroll bar. Okay, so now the 10 is taking much space, so here I will reduce this one to 8. Now save it. So here as you can see we are displaying only 8 record and we can see all the record at a time. Okay, we don't need a scroll bar here. So for the server side pagination what we have to do is here we have another one property. Okay, so here already we are doing this console log to this params. So let's come back here, do right click, go to the inspect, and from here let's select console, and here as you can see we are getting this a start row and end row. Okay, and here we have other property as well, filter model. Suppose I am filtering something, those value will be here, and sorting model. So let's pass this as a starting and ending index. So for that here let's come back. Okay, and here let's destructure both property. So const a start end row. Okay, and I need to destructure it from the params dot request. Okay, so now we have destructured. Now we have to modify our URL. So for that we have seen how can we do that. So here we need to pass here a start and end. Okay, so here URL plus equal, okay, underscore a start equal to, and I need to pass the a start row value. So here a start row and underscore end equal to, and this end row value. So end row. Now let's save it and let's come back here. Okay, and let's go to the network tab. Let's refresh this page. Okay, so now let me click on this Olympic and here the header. So here as you can see we are passing this queuing params string. First is the start here 0 and end here as a 100. Okay, so now let me click here next. Okay, So now we reached here 96. That means this is the first slice data it has shown. So now if I click here, it will make another one call. So now let me show you here. So here the start index become 100 and end become 200. And now it's make another one API call and all the data are here. Okay guys, so we have implemented pagination successfully. So now let's implement the server side filter. Okay, so for that here let's come to the VS Code. Okay, and here let's add a property here, default column definition. So default column definition. Okay, and here we need to pass some property. So first property is filter equal to true and second property is floating filter. So we want our filter to be there at the top of the column. So here floating filter equal to true. Okay, so now let's save it and let's come back here. So here as you can see we are getting our filter here, but this is not a enable. So in order to enable this here, let's come to the column definition. Okay, and let's pass here type of filter. So here the filter, so and here I will pass ag text column filter. Okay, so now let's save it and come back here. So here as you can see this got enabled. So let's do for the others as well. So let's come back here and now we have this filter option. Okay, so now let's come to the console here. So right now as you can see the filter model is empty object here. So now let me type here something. So I typed here 20 and here as you can see I have a object inside the filter model. So age and here the value is 20. Okay, so now let me provide a value here. So 2001. Okay, so now as you can see here we got this age and here year. Okay, so in order to implement this filter we need to pass here age equal to 20 and year equal to 2001 to our backend API. Okay, so what we have to do is we have to modify this structure. We need to get our required structure what API is expecting. Okay, so for that here first of all we will retrieve all the keys. So let's come back here. So here all the information we will get into the filter model. So let's copy this. Okay, and here comma filter model, and here let's break the line. Okay, so I will call it as pagination. Okay, and here I will call it as filtering. So here what I will do is I will get all the key first. Okay, so for that here I have object this filter model. So I will write const and filter keys equal to here the filter model. Okay, and I will pass this in a object. So object dot keys and filter model. So basically this is gonna to give me all the key in a array. So right now I can loop through it. Okay, so here right now the filter keys, okay, dot, and here I will use for loop. So for each, okay, and this is gonna to give me a single filter. So I will call it as filter. So from here I am gonna to modify the URL. So before doing that let's print here. So console.log, and here I will print our filter. So filter. Okay, so save it and let's come back here. So we haven't got anything. Let me write something. So here as you can see I got this age. So now if I write here 2008, here I got this year and age. Okay, so now here I need to get the value as well. Filter. Okay, so here the template symbol. Okay, and here in curly bracket equal to, and now I need to get the value of the filter, so whatever the value he have typed. So for that, dollar and curly bracket filter model of this filter. Okay, so here I will pass age, so I will get age object, and inside the age I have another one property that is called filter. Okay, so this is gonna to get me the value of the filter. So now let's save it and let's come back here, and here let me type here 23. So as you can see here, I have this age equal to 23. If I type here 2008, so here I have age 23 and year 2008. So at last here I need a and symbol. Okay, so now we don't need to print this one, so we will modify our URL. So here URL plus equal, and now let's save it and let's come back here. So here as you can see, this is the empty one, and now let me write here 23. So as you can see, we got all the record whose age is 23 only. So now let me take you to the network tab and let's come here, and here as you can see we are passing age equal to 23. So now let me try with this 2008. Okay, and here let me click on next API call, and we are passing age equal to 23, year equal to 2008. Okay guys, so this is what we were expecting in filter. Okay, so for that here what we have done is, so here we got all the key of filter model. Okay, and here we have looped through it, and after that we have modified our URL. So now let's implement the sorting. So for the sorting we need to enable sorting. Okay, so here let's come to the default column definition and add another one property that is called sortable. Okay, and pass this value as a true. Now save it and let's come back here. Okay, so now let me click on this country. So here as you can see, before in sort model I was having here empty array, but now after sortable here I got this sort model, and here I have this column ID country, and here order is ascending. Okay, so now if I click again here, I am gonna to have here sort in a descending. Okay, so right now let's come back here and break the line here, and let's write sorting. Okay, so here sort model. Okay, and now this is gonna to be a array, so I will check for length. So if sort model dot length, okay, that means if the length is there, means there is a something, then only it have to execute, otherwise it won't have to be. Sort model of 0, okay, because this is in a array here as you can see, and we know that this will be always a one position only. So now let me click on year, and now as you can see the sorting has been removed from the country and it has been applied to the year. So here we will have only one object in a array. So here directly I can refer to this 0 index, and now I need to destructure this property column ID and sort. So for that here I will write const, okay, and here call ID comma sort. So now we are destructuring column ID and here the sorting order. So right now let's modify the URL. So URL plus equal, okay, and here we need to pass underscore sort equal to, and we need to pass here column ID. So for that here dollar call ID, and here I need to pass another one property that is called order. So order equal to, and here the sort, okay, and at last here let's add and here. So now let's save it and let's come back here. So right now let me click on this edge column. So here I clicked, and as you can see this is in ascending order. So here let me go to this network tab. So here network, and here as you can see we are passing this sort as a edge, and here the order is ascending. So now if I click again here, we will get the maximum edge at the top, and this is happening because here we are passing order as a descending. Okay, so now if I click here third time, it will be in the same order what it was in before, because we are not passing third time anything. So now let's select all, do right click, and here format selection. Okay, so now our code will be formatted, and now here we have seen how to implement the sorting. So for sorting, here we are checking the length. If length is exists, means greater than 0, that means there is a something, we will get that one and we will modify the URL. If not, don't go inside. So while filtering, we are retrieving all the key from the filter model, and after that we are looping through it and we are modifying our URL. And in pagination, we are passing a starting index and we are passing ending index. So here the ending index default value is 100, and we cannot change that value. And here we are passing this URL and making a API call, here converting in JSON. And in this one, here we are calling this success callback, and here we are passing two parameters. First parameter as a data, and second is the total length of data. And remember one thing, that this value as well you will get from the API. Here I was not getting, that's why I have hard coded this value. If something went wrong, it is gonna to come here and it will show a error message. Okay, as you can see, I am calling this from the on grid ready, okay, via set server side data source. Okay, so now here and here we don't need to pass this raw data, so we can delete this one, and from here as well we can delete this one because we are not using that anymore. So here we have this column definition. We wrote this one to enable the pagination. So we have given the page size equal to 8, and here the DOM layout we have set this auto height. That means the 8 row, how much height it will take, that much height it will provide. So we don't have to define some height. Okay, and this is the row model as a server side. So once we will write this one, then only our on grid ready will call on the change of filter or on change of sorting. And at last, default column definition. So here we are enabling this filter, and we want this filter to be at the top of column. So we are enabling this floating filter true, and we want the sorting to be there. So sortable equal to true. Okay guys, so here we are able to do all the operations. For the filter, let's come to the filter and type here 23, and as you can see we got all the record whose age is 23. Okay, for the sorting you have to click on the column, and now our table got sorted in ascending order. That's why we got Australia at the top. Now if I click again here, this is gonna to be in descending order. Okay guys, so you can get the download link of this code in description of this video. If you have any doubt, you can ask me in comment section. If you love this comment, please do like, share and subscribe. See you in next video. Thanks for watching.